we are going to talk about Brett Cooper's upcoming return to content creation. So I've been following this story pretty closely. Now, I'm not going to claim that I have ever been a huge Brett Cooper fan. Definitely have not been. I've seen some of her clips. I've agreed with some of the things that she has said. She seems like a sweet girl, seems like a nice enough person, seems very likable. I commend her for being able to reach Gen Z in ways that, a lot of conservative influencers haven't. So I don't have any personal gripes with Brett, but I am a fan of the Daily Wire, have been for a very long time, and I do find this conflict with her and the Daily Wire to be interesting and newsworthy. Also, her show has her YouTube channel with her only posting one video has over half a mil. She garnered over half a million subscribers, so that's no small feat. Anyway, she announced her comeback, and yeah, so she has she posted this tweet: "We're so back," and then posted the clip to her official trailer. So let's give it a watch.
After weeks of speculation, Brett Cooper has left.
Well, it looks like the rumors were true.
Brett Cooper's departure has caused quite a stir.
The internet is absolutely melting down.
Brett Cooper did, in fact, announce her exit.
Brett Cooper announces she is leaving the Daily Wire.
Brett Cooper is officially leaving the Daily Wire.
Now she is walking away.
Brett Cooper has left.
She is gonzo.
Brett Cooper says, I'm out of here.
Now Brett Cooper has nearly 500,000 subscribers without a single video yet.
Shirley has a channel. There's now at 500,000 subs.
If you look at her numbers, Brett Cooper is popping off.
She has one of the fastest growing YouTube channels.
But
now.
what's the end all be all for Brett Cooper?
The big question on a lot of our minds is what is she going to do next?
The world you desired can be won. It exists, it is real, it is possible, it's yours. But to win it requires your total dedication and a total break with the world of your past. Fight for the value of your person. Fight for the virtue of your pride. Fight with the radiant certainty and the absolute rectitude of knowing that yours is the morality of life and that yours is the battle for any achievement, any valor, any grandeur, any goodness, any joy that has ever existed on this earth.
Are you ready, Brett?
I'm ready.
So that comes out in just a couple days. So we'll see what So yeah, that's coming out, and I just want to see. So she's at 760,000 subscribers, and she's posted one video. God, 700. That's crazy. Those numbers are insane. Which shows you how popular she is. Now, again, I don't have any particular loyalty toward Brett Cooper. I do feel, I'm a Daily Wire fan. I'm going to try to be as objective about this as humanly. Okay. Some things I did notice in this trailer. So obviously, most of you guys know that Candace Owens is no friend of the Daily Wire. They are on bad blood. They do not like each other at all. And Candace Owens had a huge falling out, which I do think, looking back, I do not necessarily agree with how the Daily Wire handled everything with Candace Owens. I don't. Uh, I had spoke at the time. Ben Shapiro had said something publicly about Candace Owens that he should have addressed privately, and I just, strictly from a leadership perspective, it seemed unprofessional to me. And but I don't know what happened behind the scenes between the two of them. I have my speculations, but it ultimately didn't work out. So she was a big talent to lose. And I think Brett Cooper, including her in this video, this comeback video, is not an accident. This is very intentional. Okay. This is her kind of drawing a line in the sand, saying, I'm with Candace, which, does not surprise me because the two of them were friends. They hung out together. They were cordial. And, maybe some of the fallout between her and the Daily Wire has to do a little bit with that, maybe she didn't like how they treated her friend. Maybe she disagreed with, their stance on Israel, which is what, she's well within her right to disagree with how they cover that topic. Um, but it definitely seems like she has thrown in her lot with Candace. There's another clip real quick I want to pull up. I think this is it. Yeah. So she interacts with Candace quite a bit. This is about Selena Gomez. We'll talk about that too. I gotta cover the Selena Gomez thing, but we'll come back to that. We'll circle back. Anyway, we learned some more things about kind of a little bit from Jeremy's perspective on the things that have happened. I'm kind of curious to hear from her perspective what happened, even if she's allowed to say anything, which I doubt. I actually highly doubt that she's going to be able to say anything. She is presumably under an NDA. So I don't suspect we will hear anything from her about her departure from the Daily Wire. But let's play and listen to a little bit of Jeremy Boring's explanation for some of the rumors surrounding this departure.
Most the entire time that there's been the comment section, not from the very earliest days, but almost the entire time, 2 years, has been the producer of the show,
He's
has
talking
helped to
about
write the show every single day.
He's referencing Reagan, who has took over the show for Brett. A lot of people are very mad about that. Very, very mad. And she's not having a good time on YouTube. Overwhelmingly, even still, people are throwing her shade, which I don't agree with at all. I don't fault the girl for taking an opportunity. People say she backstabbed her friend. She took an opportunity. If Daily Wire gave me the opportunity and my buddy was working for the Daily Wire and I was his producer and I got that opportunity, they offered me, a nice sum of cash. I'm doing what's best for me, right? I love my friends too. And my friend, by the way, would probably be happy. Just saying. A real friend would.
Day, 2 episodes a day, and has been Brett's best friend. And so, some of the accusations against Reagan have been really ugly, like that she's impersonating Brett. Well, that's unfair. If Reagan seems a bit like Brett, it's because she's Brett's best friend and one of the writers and the producer of the show. She's worked as much on the show every day on what the show would look like and feel like and sound like as Brett has for these last 2 years. They've done that together. Obviously, they have a lot in common in terms of their delivery because they have helped craft the show together. Some of the rumors I saw that we sent Reagan to acting lessons to make her more like Brett, that's absolutely absurd and deeply offensive. Reagan's enormously talented. She's been an enormous part of building the comment section for the last 2 years. And I've never sent her to an acting lesson. She's never asked me to send her to an acting lesson. I've never asked her to do anything to be more like Brett. If anything, we've told her make the show as much your own as you can while maintaining the format. But she is like Brett because they are friends and collaborators, have been collaborators on the show. It's actually ironic because I did send Brett to various kinds of lessons as a performer, not acting lessons. Brett's a terrific actress and always, the entire time I've known her, she has been, as will be evident when you see the Pendragon cycle. But I did send her to dancing lessons and singing lessons in preparation for her role as Snow White. I sent her to dialogue coaching sessions to help her with her role in the Pendragon cycle, and that's good. That's like saying that you shouldn't send a performer to lessons is like saying that my political host shouldn't read books. They should just know everything. It should all be natural. What nonsense. You should always be making yourself better. And Brett did take steps to make herself better and better and better, and I'm sure will continue to. And perhaps Reagan will as well. But what Reagan hasn't done is taking acting classes to be more like Brett Cooper. That is just completely absurd. And it's hurt my feelings a little bit that Brett hasn't done more to defend her friend Reagan. You know, Brett chose to leave the show. It was her idea, her stated desire to leave the show and to leave the company. She had personally recommended Reagan to me. Before she told me she wanted to leave the show, she had personally recommended Reagan to me and told me that if she ever did leave the show, Reagan would be a great person to consider to host it, and that at any rate, I should give something to Reagan because she should be on screen talent. And the audience, whenever Reagan would guest host the comment section, the audience loved her. The comments were almost universally positive. In fact, many of the things that they're now criticizing her for in the comments were the things that they liked most about her when they didn't know that Brett was leaving the show. And for that reason, I know that most of these attacks on Reagan are completely unfair. They're completely disingenuous. People aren't really raising these criticisms. They're either helping to craft or buying into a narrative which has been crafted by people who want the Daily Wire to fail and want Reagan to fail in the role. And both will be disappointed because Reagan will not fail in this role. And the Daily Wire will not fail. We continue to grow and we continue to succeed. And business is hard. And we'll go through you're always going to go through a little bit of a downturn in audience after a very popular host leaves a show. But Brett will go on and build her next thing, and she'll do just fine and continue to be very successful. And Reagan will continue to find her footing with her new role as host of the comment section and continue to thrive. And absolutely, we will do other kinds of content with Reagan. You know, Reagan and Brett are different. We did other kinds of content with Brett in the form of acting. You know, she played a very important role in the Pendragon cycle because Brett is a very gifted actress.
I thought he was gracious. I thought he was pretty fair, and I thought that was a pretty reasonable explanation. You know, he talked about how Reagan was just as involved with the show as Brett was and watched her, produced her, probably coached her on some of her maneuvers, probably gave her some feedback on her inflection and how she's communicating. So that seems pretty normal to me. And it's actually normal to pick up certain traits and characteristics of people that you spend a lot of time around or even spend a lot of time watching. There are podcasters that I've listened to for years that have influenced me just by listening to them. The way I talk, the way I just from listening to the same person over and over again. Yes, you pick those things up. That's kind of normal. So I imagine if this person is your best friend, that you're probably going to pick up a thing or two from that friend. So I do think the attacks on Reagan they're not cool, man. You know, like, it's just not. Remember, this is she took a job. All right. Let her take the job. If you don't like her, that's fine. Go support Brett. Brett, as Jeremy had said, chose to leave. She chose to do her own thing. So clearly she has support. You know, clearly it's something that she had been planning. So I don't get why, Reagan can't continue to host the comment section, which the Daily Wire owns, by the way. You know, it's not called it was not called the Brett Cooper Show. Now, if they did this with Matt Walsh, the Matt Walsh show, and then suddenly I'm watching some other person that's not Matt Walsh, I'd be quite upset. All right, because it is called the Matt Walsh. It's built around Matt Walsh, but the show was called the Comment Section with Brett, implying that they would likely have other guests come in. And I wouldn't be surprised if in several years we see Reagan move on from that and it be replaced with a younger talent. And it's fine now. It should be fine then. But man, some of these comments, they're just unrelentless. I want to just play for you a clip that was shared by Magman, who I think he got an unfair shake at it too. We'll talk about that. So he says, no YouTube channel, especially comment section, deserves this much hatred from the internet. Just look at these comments. People are horrible. Brett's new video reached 1 million views in 20 hours. Crazy. Clicks on video, pause, Brett comments, closes video. Never been so happy for ads before. Don't even have to see the impersonator's face. Did you guys see Brett starting a new show? Yeah, this is mean. It's just mean. You don't have to you don't have to watch her. Just move on. Move on. Don't leave angry comments. And you don't even know what actually went down. You don't know. Like and I'm not saying this is all we know. Brett could have been the bad actor. You don't know. Brett could have put her friend in a bad situation. You don't know. I don't know. I just don't think this is warranted. And it just goes on and on. Like this poor girl, man. I feel legitimately bad. Love how all the comments are just about Brett's new video. Man, that's not cool. The internet is mean. The internet is mean. Candace Owens also had some comments on this. So we'll listen to what she says. All right.
Then he sort of gets into like why the audience doesn't accept Reagan, like why the show is failing. And here's what he had to say.
And the audience, whenever Reagan would guest host the comment section, the audience loved her. The comments were almost universally positive. In fact, many of the things that they're now criticizing her for in the comments were the things that they liked most about her.
Well,
this is like commentception, you know. I'm commenting on a video that somebody else commented on that's responding to. I know it's a little much.
Because she wasn't replacing her then. She was simply filling in.
I do like this guy's like very common sense. Like everyone, yeah, it's a little different. If I'm like, hey, Brett's gonna fill in for me, and I was like, oh my god, great, I love to see that they're friends. And then like afterwards, you're like, just kidding. Brett was pretending to be her friend, and she stabbed Candace in the throat, and now she's got her job. Like, there's obviously a difference in how the audience is going to receive that. There's an emotional understanding here that I think is perhaps being missed. But now it sort of becomes like the audience fault. Then.
Brett quit though. Brett quit. Was her friend just supposed to be like, I will follow you? Is she supposed to be Samwise Gamgee? Follow her right into the heart of Mordor and not take an opportunity presented to her? I don't get, like, I don't. And Jeremy said that Brett recommended her. So there's something, guys, we're all missing. We all don't know. So it doesn't make any sense. All right. So last thing too. By the way, I don't have a problem with Brett. As I said, I don't have any issues with her. But I don't know why this has not been a bigger deal for conservatives. I don't think anybody has talked about it, and I want to talk about it. All right. So this is Amir Odom. He came to Brett's defense because he is Brett Cooper's best friend, who is a homosexual. No big deal. Speaking of weakening conservatism, why is, one of the leading voices in Gen Z women's bestie a homosexual? I don't know. That to me always left like a yuck. Like all right, I'm not with it. So he came to her defense. Whatever. He's your friend. Anyway. With that said, I'm curious to see what Brett does and how her show pans out. And I hope she's successful. And I hope people lay off Reagan. Leave the girl alone. All right. Let her have the comment section. In 3 years, she's gonna 3 or 4 years, she's gonna move on to something different too, and they'll have a newer, younger host and hopefully you guys have matured a little bit and stopped acting like pathetic little children. Hopefully that's the case. We'll see.